Hey there, Andrew here. I love anime, but I have no patience. So I'm giving every new show of the summer 2017 season one episode to hook me. Welcome to Debut Review. Today I will be watching Elegant Yokai Apartment Life. Elegant Yokai Apartment Life. Yushi Inaba is forced into an awkward living situation at his uncle's house after his parents pass away. No! Anime parents, why do you always die? He decides that when he goes to high school he's going to live on his own, and finds an ultra-cheap apartment named Kotobukiso. But it was a monster apartment, filled with monsters! Humans and ghosts. At first, Yuki doesn't know how... Yushi Inaba. Who is Yuki? Did we get the name wrong in the show description? At first, Yuki, some other person, doesn't know how to deal with these eerie monsters. But after spending time with these strange creatures, his closed heart gradually begins to open. And grew 3 sizes that day. Looking at the poster, guy with an eye patch and a ruffled thing, and a glass of tomato juice. There's a dog. There's a woman running. Maybe that's Yuki. Guy in a suit. Guy in the front. And in the back right, is that a penguin in a kimono? Alright. Elegant Yokai Apartment Life. Let's check it out. Who is Yuki? The world may never know. If there is a Yuki in this show, she doesn't show up until... Well, she doesn't show up in the first episode. There was no Yuki, so this is probably just... For some reason, someone wrote Yuki instead of Yushi. Oops. So, was this the 9th episode of Debut Review? Rough season for me so far. Nothing's really been grabbing me, and Elegant Yokai Apartment Life is no exception. It's not bad. It's just very, very meh. The setup is fine. Guy moves into an apartment with a bunch of yokai. Alright, cool. But the first episode really didn't do anything to sell me on the premise, didn't excite me about upcoming episodes, didn't endear me to any of the characters, didn't really introduce any, something it had an opportunity to do, but I feel failed at, is it didn't introduce me to yokai that were just so neat that I want to see more of them, right? But, again, nothing really wrong with the show. I mean, it wasn't annoying, it wasn't boring, it just wasn't particularly interesting or exciting to me. So, young Yushi, graduating middle school, and is going to whatever business school for high school. And so he and his best buddy... Larry, meet in a grassy field and beat the snot out of each other to celebrate their graduation and moving on with their lives. Seriously, they get into a mad fisticuffs. I don't know if... And at first I was thinking, are we doing a fighting anime here? Are we doing something like that? But the rest of the show doesn't seem to really be interested in these two's ability to kick butt. Because they seem to be decent fighters. They're just play fighting. I mean, they do knock the crap out of each other, but hey, masculine male bonding. Oh, manly stuff, I guess. I don't know. His friend really has nothing to do with the episode, so maybe he comes back later. Is that actually him on the poster? Yeah, the dude in the suit on over the lead guy's left shoulder. That's him. So I guess he's an important character. Young Yushi, his parents died, as all anime parents do, seem to. Lives with his uncle, which was weird because he's telling you, my parents died in a car wreck when he's narrating this, you see. My parents died in a car wreck when I was 7 years old or in 7th grade or whatever it was. And I live with my uncle, and it shows a shot of some woman. And I wasn't listening close enough to the translation to say, did someone translate it wrong? Did he say aunt and someone wrote uncle? Because that's not an uncle. And then it zoomed out and really quickly showed an older man and woman. I'm guessing, oh, is that the uncle and aunt? Who is the other girl? His cousin? Turns out, yes, it was. That is some weird direction, though. I now live with my uncle. Picture of someone who's not my uncle. What? So he, for whatever reason, really doesn't want to live with his uncle. His uncle seems to be an okay dude. We don't really get much time with the uncle's family. And there is some lip service later. Well, my family wasn't rich. We didn't have a lot of money, so an extra mouth to feed isn't a burden on the family. So it seems like he more wants to move out, not because it's totally unpleasant there, but because he doesn't want to be a burden. I don't know if the aunt and uncle treat him like that. His cousin has a bug up her butt about something because she's constantly giving him, nasty looks and sighing and slamming her book down, whatever she's reading. I don't know what her problem is. Show doesn't say. Unfortunately, the dorm he was going to stay at burned down. Well, that sucks. So he tries to find a place to live, even though the dorm's going to be rebuilt in 6 months. I guess he really wants out of there. But he can't find an affordable place. I can relate, man. It's tough finding an affordable place to live. So he's sitting on a bench one night, going, oh, woe is me, can't find any place I can afford to live. When a little ghost boy walks up to him and says, hey, mister, try that realtor over there. And he looks at the boy who's see-through. That's how we know he's a ghost, you see. And looks up at the find an apartment place and goes, huh, okay, I'll try that. It seems to me he would have a stronger reaction to a ghost boy, considering he has a strong reaction to the yokai he meets later in the episode. At first I thought he was just going to be one of those, ghosts, whatevs. Nothing phases me. But he's not. So I was wondering, was he just not really paying enough attention? Because the way this scene is directed, it seems to go into a character point of view where he's staring straight at this translucent boy. So the camera direction is informing me that he sees transparent boy here, but just isn't reacting to it. Weird, whatever. So he goes into the office and talks to some guy who says, yeah, I've got one place which happens to be in your budget. And he's like, oh my gosh, a place I can afford, woot woot. And the guy says, it's haunted. And he goes, okay. And he goes, not a big deal. Say, I have a place there. I use it for storage. Why don't you rent my room? Why? What are you going to do with your stuff? Why wouldn't he just rent an empty room, an available room? Was the only room available a place you use for storage? Why didn't you bring... just kind of weird. Something I actually rewound the video 10 seconds to make sure I heard that right. He's like, oh, by the way, I have a place there. I use it for storage. Why don't you rent that room? Why? What are you going to do with your stuff? But whatever, he does. And so they go to the building, and it's all dark and spooky. And he goes into the room, which doesn't seem to be used for storage so much as it seems to be just fully furnished. See, when I think of a room being used as storage, I'm thinking of boxes of stuff. No, this is just like 2 wall bookcases filled with books and a desk. Yushi lucked out here. He's like, you can keep the furniture if you want. It's like, is it okay if I just throw it away? I mean, what? What? So he spots a book on the shelf, and he pulls, oh my gosh, this is my favorite author. And then his favorite author's standing in the doorway. Oh my gosh, my favorite author lives here! Who is the weird-looking dude in the green robe, kimono, whatever they're called? There's actually another name for it, and I forget. Yukata, maybe? I don't know. Back center, going with his eyes closed, and he keeps his eyes closed throughout the whole thing. And one of my anime design pet peeves are characters who never open their damn eyes, and they're not blind. If you're blind, alright, fine, do the Zatoichi thing. Fine. But if you're not blind, Brock from Pokemon, open your damn eyes! I hate characters who are just always have their eyes closed. It's a pet peeve of mine. I don't like it. It was like Kitsune or whatever her name is in Love Hina is one of those characters. There's a bunch of them. Anyway, so, Girl, who's the girl over his right shoulder, who looks like she's mid-run, is his neighbor, and she says, let's unpack, and she starts unpacking for him. Okay. A little presumptuous there, but alright. And his author friend says, yes, this is Girl, who lives here. And he's like, a girl? Living here all by herself? A girl? Aren't you lonely? Oh. Oh, Yushi. Oh. So, he makes friends, and then they go down for dinner, and, there are a lot of ghosts and yokai in there, and he thinks he's dreaming, but he's not. And then he takes a bath with his author guy in a cave under the, mansion, and, then there's a big demon monster down there who's the landlord. And then he dreams that he's back fighting with his buddy, but his buddy's a demon too. And then he wakes up and it was a dream. So I'm like, well, did he faint in the bathtub? And then, what was the sequence of events here? So he was in the bath. He sees the giant demon landlord dude. And then we immediately switch to the dream sequence. And then he wakes up into his bed. So what happened? Did he pass out in the bath and someone took him upstairs and put him to bed? Or did he go, oh, well, that was weird, and then got out of the bath, got dressed, went upstairs, got into bed, had a dream, and then woke up. Oh, it was all a dream. What? But it was not a dream. And he opens the window, and there's 3 Twitter birds. They're blue birds that look like the Twitter logo, and they say good morning. He says good morning, and then he realizes birds don't usually say good morning. They just say tweet, tweet, and they say good morning, tweet. And he closes the window. Oh, also the girl, who is not Yuki, by the way, that's not her name, after dinner, she's like, "Whoa, look at the time! I've got to go to work. I have the night shift and the night shift at the hospital." And and Yushi says, "At this hour?" "Yes, Yushi. Night shift." So he wakes up the following morning and he goes out and she's coming back from her shift at the hospital. And oh my gosh, there's a evil spirit behind you. So she exorcises him. She's like, "Be gone!" And the evil spirit be gone. And they're like, "Hey, you gonna live here or be a chicken and run home to your uncle?" And then they all sit down for breakfast, and that's pretty much where the show ends. So, I don't know where it's going. Maybe it could be interesting. Not really digging the design of most of the yokai. They seem to be really undercooked and lazy from a design standpoint. Like, they were like, alright, we need a bunch of background characters. Here's a squiggly black cloud with arms and legs. Whatever. Here's a hastily drawn sock puppet. Maybe they're very, very representative of yokai in Japanese culture. I'm familiar with a few of them, like the really dumb ones, like the umbrella. I mean, come on, even to the Japanese, that's got to be goofy. The foot-hopping umbrella thing. Come on. Oh no, it's an umbrella with a foot. It's gonna hop after me. Maybe it does like the Jurassic Park Dilophosaurus thing and like, you know. I don't know. If you know of any shows, anime, movies, anything that depicts that particular yokai in a legitimately creepy or frightening way, let me know. Let me know. Hook me up with a link. I'd be really interested to see that because that's one of the goofiest damn things I have ever seen. And I'm not... Maybe it's supposed to be goofy. Maybe it's like yokai light. Like yokai for the kids kind of a thing. I don't know. Anyway, this show, it's fine. There's really nothing totally wrong with it. But it... just the epitome of meh to me. Yeah. It convinced me to watch the second episode, maybe, but let me rephrase that. Perhaps you can convince me to watch the second episode of Elegant Yokai Apartment Life. But the first episode of Elegant Yokai Apartment Life failed to convince me to watch the second episode of Elegant Yokai Apartment Life. A title that really sticks in your head. That's it from me. Take care, see you next time. Bye-bye.